Um, Hi, hello. Thank you for inviting me to for this event, the Hometown Hustle speech. Um, I guess I have about 15 minutes to finish. Wrap up my conversation with the audience. Well, let me just introduce myself. My name is John Park. Um, I am a software engineer, not really a software engineer. I'm a data analytics consultant working for a bank, namely PNC Bank. I'm working 100% remote in Northern Virginia in McLean area. And I was invited by my one of the hosts of this event and my very good friend, Mr. Jordan Bales. So shout out to Jordan for this opportunity to be able to share my life story regarding, being pretty much a journeyman throughout my whole life up until this point. I guess I think I've finally found a place to settle down and start something big. Just a small, short recap of my life events, what has led me to land a career in the data space. Well, me and my family, I have a younger brother, mom and dad. All four of us came to the United States in 2002 summer when I was 13. So I grew up in Tallahassee, Florida. I went to middle school and 3 years of high school. And in my senior year, I moved up to Northern Virginia, Fairfax area, where I finished my senior year of high school. Um, and then, I went to Northern Virginia Community College in Annandale, Virginia. It's right next to Fairfax, Virginia, from which I transferred out to the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. So that was another. So, you start from South Korea, and then you go to halfway across the globe to Florida. Then you move up 13 hours upstate to Northern Virginia. Then you move west 2 hours to Charlottesville. And then upon finishing college, I came back to Nova area in Annandale, where I worked as a restaurant manager for 4 years and a half. And upon finishing that, I had an opportunity to work for CGI Federal, one of the biggest government contractors, federal government contractors in the state of Virginia, which took me to Abingdon, Virginia. My office was in Lebanon, Virginia. I lived in Abingdon, Virginia. That's the southwest corner of Virginia. I shouldn't have to tell you guys this because that's where my audience is. But yeah, I was there from 2019 to earlier this year. So I spent about 2, 3 years in Abingdon. Now I'm back in Northern Virginia, working 100% remote in the data space. So the topic of my speech today is Journeyman. When I was asked, hey, what do you want your session to be called or titled as? I asked for Journeyman because, as you may have already caught up with the short recap of my life story, I've been bouncing from place to place, wherever life takes me, because I don't know, I always found opportunities in distant places. And sorry, I thought it was one of the meeting hosts texting me. Sorry about that. But yeah, in a strange way, life has taken me to different places across states, across borders, across continents. And I really wanted to bring that up, bring that aspect of my life, being relocating places to places for today's event, because I wanted to let our up and coming students and young entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs in the region to know that there are so many opportunities, not just in a particular region, but across the globe, as you can see from my case. And I kind of missed out on one important detail of my journeys. Well, when I was in Charlottesville, remember I was in Charlottesville, I was attending college there. I actually had to move back to my home country, South Korea, for the mandatory military service. So there is an active conscription going on, and any South Korean national, male South Korean national, has to serve the mandatory active duty military service in the army for about 2 years. So I did that service as well, and then I came back and finished my degree. for me to be able to stay in the United States, I had to come across a lot of hurdles, not just hurdles. By hurdles, I mean mainly my maintenance of my status, my legal status to stay in the United States and grow up here. Just because I mean, I've been living here since I was 13. So I spent most of my adolescence and young adult stage in the States. I grew up thinking I was just like any of my peers growing up. My friends were all Americans, my workmates were all Americans, and my neighbors all Americans. I thought I was American myself, but it kind of hit me hard in 2014 winter when I graduated from college that because of these visa rules and whatnot, because I was still a foreign national on paper, I basically had to go back to South Korea within 60 days of graduation, unless I find an employer who's willing to sponsor for my stay. And 2004 winter, the economy wasn't as strong as it is now. The job market was nearly frozen. So no American company that I've applied for out of 14 different places, they were willing to take a chance on a foreigner. So because of that, I had to find other ways to work around to get my sponsorship through other lines of work that I never thought I would have any interest in, that being the restaurant food service industry. I came in thinking that, hey, if I don't like the way it goes, I'm just gonna pack up and leave, go back to my home country, and just, you know, live a normal life in Korea as a South Korean. But when I was coming back from college, it's about a 2 hour drive from Charlottesville to Fairfax, where I was living. And as you may already know, they got beautiful back roads, Interstate 66, 81, and 94, what you know. And as I was driving back home, I saw these wide open fields on both sides of the highway. And I thought to myself, yes, it is tough for me to stay here right now because of legal issues. But if I can find out a way, I want to stay in this country. This, kind of old term, old phrase, the land of opportunities and everything, that really like hit me before. But once I saw that view and looked at myself in this situation, I thought, hey, I mean, United States, we take up half the continent. This is a land of opportunity. There's got to be a place for me out there somewhere. And that's why I decided to stay. So I spent about 4 or 5 years working in an industry that I never thought I would ever be interested in, which happened to be a great experience. I was basically the frontline manager at a very successful restaurant slash cafe in Northern Virginia. There was a lot of different types of work, from just everyday managerial duties to, facility maintenance, sales, project planning, whatnot, from which I learned a lot of skills and knowledge that I otherwise could not have gotten had I started my career in a corporate environment, just as many college graduates tend to do so. There were some times I felt a little behind compared to my peers, but come to think of it again, looking back at myself and my life, I'm kind of glad I've been able to interact with people from different regions, different industry, etc. Um, Going back 2 years from today, when I got the offer letter from CGI Federal in Lebanon, Virginia, I was in Fairfax. That's about a 360-mile drive up from here to there. It's going to the complete opposite end of the state of Virginia. Different cultures, different demographics, different views, whether it be political, religion, or just general life view and whatnot. I'll be honest with you, most of my peers in Northern Virginia were kind of worried that I may not find myself fitting in as easily in Southwest. Did I have any doubts? I didn't, because my college roommate Jordan, he was from Richlands, Virginia, and we didn't have any qualms or quarrels. I think we were the best buddies in college. So I thought, if everybody's like Jordan, why not just why not just take a chance? It wouldn't be pleasant being so far away from girlfriend and family in upstate, but I want to go to a different region for a whole new kind of opportunity. And computer engineering, which is completely on the opposite end of restaurant and service business. So I wanted to take a chance, and I did. And I gotta say, I've had in the past 2 years of my staying in Abingdon, compared to my total of 7 or 8 years staying in Northern Virginia, I've made more friends, lifelong friends through hobbies. And I'm a kind of person, wherever I go, I gotta make friends right away. And small town USA, Abingdon, Virginia, everybody's friendly. Waves and hollers as I go down Main Street from people who I made acquaintances with. I made way more real friends down in Southwest Virginia than I did in Northern Virginia. So you know, I I had a brief moment to kind of review the objectives and everything about this event. This was to promote some kind of awareness, business awareness for the guys in the Southwest. And I gotta tell those guys, hey, you are in one of the greatest places to make lifelong friends. It's a very tight knit community, which is severely lacking, in my opinion, up here in the urban areas. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity. But and I'm definitely looking forward to my new life back again in Northern Virginia. But as my closing thoughts, I will just say one thing. Leaving home sucks. I'll just be honest with you. Settling in somewhere for a few years, you think you finally have made it into the community, but then dropping everything and moving to a different area, yeah, it sucks. It's a scary thought. What if you don't fit in? What if you miss home too much? And they will happen. But had I not made those choices, voluntarily or involuntarily, like me coming to the States from South Korea was not my choice. My dad decided to immigrate here, so I just had to follow him. But was it always nice and easy? No. Fitting in is a difficult thing wherever you go. But was it worth it? It was definitely 100% worth it. By not taking chances and by not at least evaluating the outcome, the possible outcome of relocation, etc., you are missing out on so many opportunities that would serve you well in the long run. So that's just one thing that's one of the ideas I wanted to relay out there to y'all, to the audience who might be wondering, hey, I know this line of work that's more flourishing in, say, like Nashville, or hey, I want to do this kind of business. I know there's a bigger market and a greater affinity for this line of business up in like California or Texas or somewhere. But you might be just kind of holding yourself back in and saying, I can't leave home. This is where family is, and this is where I belong. It's always good to have a hometown. That's the one thing I don't have. You know, wherever I go, whenever I make friends, like say I ride a motorcycle. So in Southwest Virginia, I'll meet a guy who will ride for like a whole day, and he's like, "Hey, John, it was a great ride. Do you mind if I bring one of my friends over like next time to join us?" And I'll ask him, "Who's this guy?" It's like, "Well, he's my friend from preschool." And that's something I don't have because I've always been bouncing from place to place. So that's a good thing. So I'm not saying, by staying in one place you're being adamant or anything that you're missing out or anything. You're not doing that. Well, in a way you're kind of missing out if there's opportunities out there in different places. If you just know it for sure, you've done enough research, enough thought. But if the thought of what if I fail is holding you back, don't do that, because you guys are too young to do that. You just got to get out there and see what's out there. If it doesn't work out, there's always home to come back to. That's something that most of us, well, not including myself, have. So I guess that was the one thing that I really wanted to stress in my speech today, that I don't want anybody to have to live the kind of journeyman life I've led for the past, say, 20 years. It's not mostly fun, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of I've had a lot of struggles on my end, but it was definitely worth it. So if you're ever thinking about chasing other opportunities outside of Virginia, or outside of your or outside of the industry that you're in right now, don't be afraid to do so, because it happens and it can happen. It doesn't matter where you start. You know, as long as you apply yourself. I know you hear these motivational speeches on YouTube and everything everywhere. It may not just register to you. Believe me, I was the same way. You know, when people were giving out these speeches like, believe in yourself, you know, if you believe it'll happen, I used to think it's not going to happen for me, you know? I used to make delivery runs at 4 in the morning in Northern Virginia traffic, you know, carrying cabbages and bags of flour in the truck. And I look at all these office buildings, one of them being CGI Federal. I used to think, someday I'll make it, but another part of me told me, I'm never gonna make it there. I'm just gonna die a restaurant manager. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that's just not what I wanted to do. But you know, a big part of me was telling me I just won't make it. But then it happened once I started believing in it. It can happen, and I just hope you guys get through this long winter. I think it's still winter in the state of Virginia. Well, and I think I don't know if I shared my contact information or anything through the through the event organizers, but if you have any questions, you can ask me any questions in email. You can call me at any time. Just be like, hey, I like your story. I want to do this. What are your tips? You just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to answer. I just want everybody to, whoever who might be in the same situation as me, who might be just wondering, can I do this? Can I take this step, John? Like, am I gonna make it? I mean, we can talk. You know? So thanks again for having us here. It's so weird to see you up there in that screen, man. But yeah, thank you again, and you guys have a great rest of the weekend.